do you ever find yourself at periods where it's like, man, I just can't write? You know what I mean? Like whether it's like a creative wall or a block. Like you ever find yourself in that period? 'Cause I know as creatives, man, it's like we want to write, we want to create. But has there
Mhm.
been seasons where it's like I just can't create right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't even call it a block. It's like you said, seasons. And seasons
Yeah,
change.
for
They
sure.
come, they change. They come back around. Things of that sort. I think it's just being comfortable, um, being okay with whatever season that you're in, and
Yeah.
learning what season that you're in. I think sometimes there are some things we need to push through.
Hmm.
Like you're just too busy. You're not. It's not like you have a block. You just got too many other things up here, and you need
Yeah,
to just yeah,
for
like
sure.
okay, get away and focus, or get quiet. You're trying to write on a train, which people do. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, right,
but I'm
right.
just saying it's just too busy and you need to chill out. It is
Yeah.
it's some blocks I think could be self-induced,
Mm.
and not necessarily like God saying this is a season where you just sit down and you just rest, or it's a
Yeah.
season of let's memorize this piece and get it in you where
Mm.
you're not just delivering out of memory, but you're delivering from heart. Like
Yeah.
it could be seasons where okay, just pause and
Wow.
just being okay with just pausing, and it's like
Yeah.
okay, rest. I think
So
sometimes as creatives, we get so busy with just do, producing that we need to take time out to replenish and
yeah,
refresh,
right, right.
Yeah.
And then it's also that whole thing is like as a creative, you're pouring out, but it's like, are you being poured into? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That element as well.
Yes.
One of the reasons why I asked that is because I'm in a season right now where it's like, man, I just can't sit down and write. It's like I don't know. You know what I mean? And so it's just about overcoming that. And so, like for someone like me, or if it's there, like someone listening who is a creative and struggling with that right now, like what are some advice or what are some lessons you have learned going through those seasons that can kind of offer us some encouragement?
um, don't write.
Uh,
Don't. I would say don't write. I would
okay.
say go back and see if there's something in your hands that you have not finished.
Hmm.
See if there's a spark that you like those one liners. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's just me, but there are times when just one liners would come up and I would just jot it down,
Yeah.
or put it in my phone or whatever. And I'll just go back through my notes and I'll just read some of the stuff that have been written, and something might catch my attention. It's like, okay, okay, okay. I can do, let's work with this. And sometimes it's just a matter of, I think when we look to ourselves for inspiration,
Hmm.
sometimes that can throw us off
Hmm.
because it can become what's in my head
Yeah.
or what's been in my eyes. What do I desire to do, and not necessarily what does God desire to do.
Wow.
What does He desire to say? Like, am I just expressing myself? And this is something I have on my board in my closet. But it is express God, and we live in a society where communities like you got to express yourself, tell your truth and all this other stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well that's good,
Hmm.
but what's higher than that?
Hmm.
What's high? It's expressing God.
For sure.
Like sometimes our what we got to say don't even matter. Like
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
whatever, it doesn't, put that on the back burner. God, what do you decide to say to me?
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of times my poetry is God talking to me, and I'm just letting everybody else in on the conversation.
That's
And
good. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, like
It's
what do
something
you
you
decide to say to your people?
wrestling with, or like something he showed you in scripture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So
I love just that idea of, that advice being don't write. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like, because you think about it, it's like if you're in that season and you sit down and you try to write but nothing comes out, that's when a lot of the discouragement comes, and it's like, man, And when you said that, it just made me think like only write when you have something to say. Pretty much. It's like don't write unless or until you have something to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like
if it's not flowing, I got
right. Yeah. That's
like, it could be the opposite way around as well. I think just being led, right? Because you might have a season where it's like, okay, well, don't write, only write when you have that when you know what you're supposed to be writing.
Yeah.
And there's other times, other seasons where I'm like, I'm writing about everything, and I may not ever share any of this, with anybody. It's just coming, and it could be short, long, whatever the case is.
For sure.
So just discerning and knowing where you are and being okay with wherever that place is for you.
Wow.
I'm out front running all day.